Content Catchup.
Hello, friends and enemies. Welcome to episode 13, lucky for some, unlucky for others, of the podcast. Barks, welcome.
Hello.
It's good to see you.
Hello, listeners.
Good to see you.
It's great to see you too. Great to be back. I got my mic.
Got your mic, got your cable. It wasn't the
the
mic that was the issue last week, it was the cable.
No, it was the adapter. But hey, we all make mistakes.
The adapter.
And we've all been eggs every so often. So we're back, baby, and we've got a massive episode actually. Very, very enjoyable.
Huge episode. If you've been listening over the last month or so, actually we're going to wind this back because this goes back to our New Year's resolutions, at the end of last year, where we both committed to getting someone that we've always wanted to talk to onto the show. And for me, it was Benny the Bull. Now, obviously, Bucks, don't be an idiot because bulls can't actually speak. So he was never going to come on the show, Benny. He was never going to come on the show.
A shit answer from you to begin with is what you're saying, yeah.
Because all he was ever going to do is come into the microphone and go...
That would have been very funny, actually. So there's massive bull in a generic bedroom.
A bull in a bedroom. Is that what Elise calls you?
Oh, okay. Anyway, let's bring it back. Bring it back to the story. What I find funny about this story before you go on is that mine never responded, my New Year's resolution guest. And here we are, made a fantastic episode out of yours, but mine's just sitting in the unread DMs.
It's okay. It'll happen. Do we want to shout them out and maybe make this little clip so they can fucking respond?
No, I feel like that'd make it worse.
Anyway, so without being able to get an inaudible bull onto the show, we did the next best thing and we reached out to... Actually, I don't think Kamil actually saw our call out for Benny the Bull and he got in touch with us. I'm pretty sure.
Did he?
That's the way it went down, yeah.
You've never told me that. I thought you slid into his DMs. That's even better.
No. He, I think he saw us call out Benny the Bull and he jumped on it. So I don't know how to intro this guest because old K Money is sensational and you're really going to enjoy this from so many levels. So I reckon we just head straight into it, Bucks. What do you think?
We can jump straight into it because I think
there it is.
The minute he hopped on the line and had the virtual background with the famous Chicago Bulls entrance music, gave us a great insight to what Kamil is like, and he was just an absolute ball of energy, and it was really genuinely a very enjoyable chat. So yeah, let's get straight into it.
Here he is, ladies. Oh, not ladies and gentlemen. Friends and enemies. Here he is. Friends and enemies. It's been a bit of time in the making, but we finally got there. We would like to introduce you to someone who we've been so excited to talk to for the longest time, Kamil Strycharz from the Chicago Bulls. And let me tell you, you're going to want to watch the video of this because Kamil's gone all out with his background here. And he did a little NBA intro for us as well with the little ESPN NBA music, Chicago Bulls. We're all good. So thank you, Kamil, and welcome to the show.
Woo! Yes, happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
How's everything going? Tell us about what's going on in your world at the moment.
We got the pandemic going on, which is never fun, but making the most out of it. Bulls basketball is back. We're competing for a play-in spot. I hope that comes in for us. We're actually playing tonight, so we do need that. But yeah, products are moving. I can't wait. We actually recently announced too that fans are allowed back in the arena, so I'm excited to see some smiles in the arena too. But other than that, just living life, you know.
Talk of the town is the play-in. How do you feel about it, Kamil?
So I can't talk about performance-wise because it'd be against policy there. Sports bettors are like taking notes out right now, like what's he about to say? But yeah, what I can say is that I'm excited. I hope it comes our way, and we'll see how it goes. I'm rooting for the Bulls. Let's go.
Are you super excited to have some fans back in the stadium? It is a bit eerie playing in empty stadiums from our own experiences. We know that.
Yeah, I think our players are probably the most excited because I'm thinking about it. It's kind of weird. Like you're shooting an empty arena. Like obviously like we're pumping fake noise and all that to make it feel somewhat normal. But I've been in the arena without fans, obviously when I'm working games. But it's different. It's not the same. So like having people out there like actually cheering and whatnot, it's gonna be such a big advantage. I can't wait. It's exciting.
For the listeners, Camille, what does Chicago currently have? You said that some fans are returning. What's their sort of capacity?
Yeah, it's like a slower rollout, but I think it's up to 20% of the stadium. We actually have one of the biggest stadiums in all the NBA. I think it's actually the largest stadium, if I'm not corrected. I might have to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that we're one of the biggest, if not the biggest stadium. So whatever 20% of over 23,000 is, like that's going to be amazing. And plus Chicago fans do it right. We're loud, we're proud, and so it's going to be good.
Absolutely. Love that.
You got some big name supporters as well, like Chance the Rapper, I'm sure will be busting down the doors to get back in.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm excited. I might even take off a game and go on as a fan myself. Just be like, let's go.
I'm actually a bit annoyed at your background, Camille, because it's recently I upgraded my background because I used to have a plain white wall, and Jules used to give me shit every week. And 2 weeks ago, I moved house and revealed this bad boy, and then you just come in and bloody up me straight away.
It's just alpha to everyone.
Had to do it right.
Yeah, true. We'll go into 1 minute brief. We like to get to know our guests a bit. So basically, it's a series of quick fire questions that will kick off right now. So, what is your nickname?
I have many. Probably the most popular is K Money. My initials are KS. Just put little things in there. It's K Money. Multiple reasons why I have that nickname, but other ones are Chameleonaire, Chameleon, Ham. People call me K, just letter K. But yeah, K Money is definitely like the most popular. So we can go with that, or we can just go with the standard Camille. Camel. That's another huge.
Camel.
Yeah, people couldn't say my name as a kid. That's actually, it started off in preschool. I think the bus driver called me Camel because he couldn't say Camille for some reason. I think it's that hard to say, but no. Yeah, that stuck with me for a long time in my life. It still is. People still call me Camel, but K Money or Camille.
That sounds like a pain in the ass. Jules, I saw you laugh. And do you know anyone from the Hornets team? By any chance, the digital team? Camille?
Do I know?
Yeah, so we had Nick Bollock from the Hornets like a couple of months ago now, but his nickname was Big Money. So when you said
K
Money...
way. I'm gonna DM him on Twitter or something. I need to text him. That's awesome.
There must be something in the water there.
Wow. Wow, I'm not kidding. I'm actually writing this down right now. I'm going to send him a message. That's awesome.
What is your job title? And I'm going to add on another one to that. Job title, and how many years have you worked there?
Yeah, official title is digital content coordinator. Whenever someone asks me, I just say I'm on the content team. And that obviously opens up a bunch of different questions. Like, what do you do? Like, what does a content team member do? I've been there ever since I was an intern, which was 4 years ago. So I've been here for over 4 years, yeah.
Nice.
If you count my internship, yes, over 4. I'm doing math in my head.
I think it'll count.
A little bit over 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Do you? This might be a hard one, but do you have a favorite bit of content you've worked on over those 4 or 5 years?
Yes, there's a lot of ones to point at because like I think anyone's job in social is so unique and has so much different experiences and all these other fun things going on. One that I just need to give a shout out is any kind of product that involves giving someone else an opportunity. So one thing that I think that we do very good at Chicago Bulls is give people opportunity. And so for example, most recently, we worked on a TikTok dance challenge and we brought in a Hawaiian music group. Like these guys have not worked with like a big brand before, like one of the first to do that. They were so excited. I remember, shout out to
what are they called?
Black Kings out there. The Young Black Kings, sorry, YBK. They go by YBK. They're just like so excited to work with us. They were very great to work with. Other projects, ones that like personally fit very close to my heart. Anything to do with Lollapalooza, which is like a giant music festival here in Chicago. Got to be on stage with Benny the Bull and like one of the top DJs out there. There's just so many. That list goes on, but there's so many fun ones, so many impactful ones, and so many just like. I don't know, it's crazy. I'm like smiling right now because like so many are like flashbacks right now.
Yeah, I can see how much joy you got from it. We'll have to give the Google of that Hawaiian. What do you say? The Young Black Kings?
Young Black Kings, yeah.
I'll have to give them a Google.
They actually, a lot of people might know them from starting one of the largest dance challenges in TikTok. It's called the Dip and Lean Challenge. They're the ones that actually created that audio. So that's how we found them too. So
I'm sure our good friend Julian here has come across them with his many hours spent on TikTok.
Okay, money. I probably spend like 3 hours a day on TikTok, so
He needs
I'm
help.
well aware of the
They
dance.
suck you in.
They suck you in.
Oh yeah.
To finish the 1 minute brief off, best non-work skill. What do you rate yourself in?
I
Hardest
guess
of the bunch.
this translates over to the Bulls too, but probably competitiveness. Like it's something that, but like fair competitiveness. Like there's a difference. There's a difference, and I'll
Yep.
explain why. Like there's people that are competitive and they'll do whatever it takes to win, and like sometimes that means like sabotaging people. That's not what I try to do at all. It's not who I am. Like I love it when everyone wins, but when it comes to competition, it's like how can I beat you the most fair possible? Like literally, if we're playing like tic-tac-toe and there's something controversial, I'd be like, no, it doesn't count. I want to make sure that like I won the fair way, all that. So I would say fair. That's like one of my skills, being extremely fair.
Oh, that's
Fair
beautiful.
competitor. Yeah.
Is that coming from? Did you play sport or do you play sport now? Obviously not
Yeah,
during
I
the
played-
pandemic, but
I played soccer or football, whatever, whoever wants to call it, whichever way. Yeah, I played soccer, travel soccer since I was younger. That was always fun. But I have a next door neighbor as growing up that we just play like every sport against each other. It was just good. I have 3 brothers, 2 that are older, 1 that is younger. So like, there's always things going on back as a kid. So I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah.
Is that you've been fairly competitive for your entire life. Good reminder not to verse you in tic-tac-toe, though.
Tic-tac-toe.
See, this is where my head goes. As soon as I hear
TikTok.
tick, I say tock. I've got a problem.
we should have a virtual game of tic-tac-toe with Camille. See how
Let's
competitive
go.
he
Let's
gets.
make it happen. Yo, name
See how fair he is.
any game, any sport. Let's go. I'll try my best at it. It might not be the best, but I'll give it a go.
Ruin the early friendship.
Thanks for the quick insight into your life, mate. I want to dive deeper and a little bit into that. So you said you started off at the Bulls in an internship.
Mm-hmm.
How does one land an internship at one of the most successful and most popular dynasties and clubs in the NBA?
That's a cool question. Thanks for calling it such an amazing place to work. Yeah, so I started my first. I guess I'll back up. I'll back up even more, actually. I'll try to keep it short and simple. It's
Go
a
from
long
birth.
journey here.
Go.
Ever since I was a kid, I would create content. Like right now, I feel like I'm being a little bit tamed, where I'm not like out there and like being all crazy. But ever since I was a kid, I was always creating content. It's so much fun, entertaining. It's so much fun bringing smiles to people. So like that ranges from doing Snapchat takeovers or creating even before that. Like I was on YouTube with my next door neighbor again, like creating like little pranks as like little. We were probably like 10 years old. I can't find those YouTube videos anywhere, and trust me, you guys can Google.
I was
as
just
much
about
as
to.
you want. You're not gonna find
I was
it.
just about to
I
write
tried.
it down.
Trust me, I tried. I can't find it, but it escalated to where I had my own Japanese prank compilation YouTube channel that got copyright infringed. Like YouTube suspended my account. I thought I was going to jail. I was like, oh no, whatever. I had to go to the copyright school. Fast forward, like when Vine was around, I was creating Vines. I've always been creating content. That's probably the most important point to make there. Then college hit. I went to DePaul University in Chicago. I was a nerd on paper. I wasn't like a diehard, like, let's go to school kind of guy. Never, not that I don't believe in the education system, but it's just crazy to spend so much money for like what you're getting back. Not to bash school. Go to school, everybody. But,
Go to school, kids.
No, but at DePaul, one of the things we had to do was get an internship as part of the credit. So I actually interned at a consulting company. It was a human resource consulting company, ton of experience. I went there for the money, honestly. Like I thought consulting was like the place to go. Let's make some money, whatever. But no offense to the place I worked, it was just mind-numbing work. It was not fun. It was not where I was not fulfilled at all. Fast forward a couple of months there. I saw on Twitter, out of all places, I saw on Twitter that the Chicago Bulls were hiring for a digital role, digital associate, which was an intern position. I cold DM'd the senior manager at the time, and I said, "Hey, Luca, I don't think I match perfectly like the role. Like it was a role for like coding. You had to know HTML. Like you had to code up articles and code up emails, things like that. I didn't know how to code, so I DM'd him, said like, "Yo, I'm very passionate about this, and this. Sent my resume. Like I want to like." Anyways, fast forward, I basically learned how to code within a week. I took like a 3-month course, jammed it all in a week. I didn't end up learning how to code as well as I thought I did. They found that out quickly. But yeah, within a couple of weeks within the job, like it was clear that I wasn't like a product person. I was much more on the social and content side and the business side, especially. So as time went by, I just shifted on over. But yeah, sorry for the long, very long answer there, but here I am.
No, not at all. That's kind of cool though. Like to see the product side of thing probably like enhances your like experience of what you know you can do on those products as well.
Yeah.
Like in terms of producing content, knowing like what's the possibilities, what's not like what's impossible, all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's bad as well. Like fuck, learning coding in a week is a huge kind of like deal. Like that's something that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, luckily I don't want to. Like, I was by no means like a professional coder. Like, I do not think I was
Make
anywhere
that very
close
clear.
to no, like nowhere near that. It was like very basic HTML, but literally I was going into it without much knowledge at all. So like that's where it felt like it was just overwhelming and all that. But yeah, that goes back to the competitiveness where it's like, oh, I can do this. Let's go, kind of thing.
I think it's a.
Do you sorry, Barks, you go.
No, I was just gonna say, I think it's a good example of like we talk about so often about if there's an opportunity to sort of jump into a company or a brand that you think you'd love to work at, that maybe it's not always going to sound like ideal. Like if that's an opening that you want to try and just be keen to try something different, you don't have to be good at it and you don't have to love it, but it will give you an in to the door and you'll also figure out what you do and don't like. So it's probably just a good example of, yeah, jumping in, being keen to just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Was it hard for you to convince them to let you make that transition from one area to the other, or was it did they really just appreciate your work rate and the kind of attitude that you brought in, and were like, actually, no, you'd be better suited over here?
Yeah. Well, I think it kind of caught them by surprise. Like they knew that I didn't know how to code. Like they knew there was a risk. I definitely put in the work. Like don't get me wrong. Like I wasn't just like coming in there and just like, oh no, I want to do social content. Like I came in there, I was like, what can I do next? What can I do next? What can I do next? And then while my time there, if I saw an opportunity, I was like, hey, we should maybe tweet this. Hey, maybe we should use this. Or hey, there's a way to grow this way. So like just jabbing in there every once in a while when there was an opportunity, even to the point where when I was covering games, I remember the first time ever tweeting, that was insane to me. I'm like, wow, like I'm publishing for the Chicago Bulls right now. Like I'm the voice of the Chicago Bulls. But I think it was more so just showing them that, hey, like this is actual impactful, like what I was suggesting. And if they tried it and performed well, they're like, oh, like it's like building trust essentially. But yeah, that's basically how it went down.
Yeah. You said
that.
You said it. So
sorry,
no, you go, Jules. No, come on. Let's sort each other out.
No, I just think like that trust thing in sport is such an underrated quality that you need to have. Whether it's like people above you, like people working beside you, but also like the players. And if you're trustworthy in your team, I feel like people are more willing to put you out to the players and be like, hey, you can trust this guy to take some photos, help you with your social content, this, that, one or the other. It's just underrated like quality that you need to have.
Definitely.
Yeah. I also want to chime in and say I love Twitter. I love that your story Twitter helped that, because I can comfortably say that I think everything that I've done in this field is due to Twitter. I'm just going to... Twitter is because...
Shout out to Twitter.
Yeah, shout out to Twitter. Oh, nice cat, Jules.
Yeah, sorry, there's my cat. Come up for a bit.
You said it before, Kamil, the scale of... You don't need to know basketball to know who the Chicago Bulls are. Once you sort of landed there and I guess got comfortable that you're tweeting from Chicago, what was it like working for one of the biggest sporting teams? And then follow up to that, The Last Dance, did that sort of change your approach to content in any way? Touch on that.
These are two beefy questions. These are good questions. When I first started, I was surprised that the team actually wasn't bigger. Like when I came in, I was like, oh, this is such a big organization, the Chicago Bulls. Like this is like, wow, this can be so crazy. It wasn't that big of a team. I think it was maybe only two on paper content people, which really doesn't like for a massive organization. Like when you think of the Chicago Bulls, like, I think it'd be a much bigger one. But it was just two starting off. So that was the biggest shock. But once like you're actually in there, the experiences are just incredible. Like the opportunity and just how you said, like so many people know who the Chicago Bulls are, which is so advantageous to us. Like anyone we reach out to with the bulls.com email address, like they're going to reach out back to us because they know who we are. And I'm so grateful for that. Cause even working at my old, like anywhere else that I worked at, like you're just somebody else, you know, but once you're at the Bulls, it's like, boom, you have that instant credibility or that instant clout, as people say. So that's like the biggest thing that I noticed. Second question, Last Dance. I can go in so many different ways here, but Last Dance was quite the blessing for us. I mean, obviously COVID knocked out all the games during the time, so we didn't have any games, and games are our largest pillar of content. Like literally you can create so many posts with having games, and without having that, the Last Dance came along, and obviously Last Dance was about the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan, which is that's the big part of the franchise. So we had so much to cover, and so many products that came out of that. So that was a huge blessing, and that was a good time. It was really cool even to see. I feel like I'm rambling off now, but I feel like even just seeing old coworkers there, like that was insane too. Like, wow, like no way, like there's Tim, there. Like there's Chip, like that's crazy. Like hello, but yeah.
That's so nuts. Was it ever in your radar to maybe like, did you know how big that was going to be, and kind of like, how did you plan for the aftermath of it a little bit? Did you lean into it with your content, or did you kind of like just let it do its own thing?
Yeah, we definitely knew it was coming. Yeah, like I said, we had coworkers that were in the actual series itself. Even when the promos initially came out, like we already started thinking about what to create. One example of us preparing ahead of time, we actually launched an account called @BullsArchive. You can find them on Twitter and Instagram. This was like a mini passion project of mine in terms of like showing that verticalization and specializing in a specific vertical is beneficial. And so basically to fill in anyone that doesn't know, which probably everyone listening to this right now, but it is an account that was devoted to never before seen photos from the team. So literally like, these are photos that have not been published anywhere besides it's stored actually like right here in the office. I probably shouldn't be showing that. So, like someone's gonna rob the office now. Like in an office, literally right here, there's thousands of photos that have not been seen to the public. It was our team photographer was taking photos and just stashed them. Like some of them obviously creeped out, some of them were published, but a lot of them weren't. And that's White House visits. That's inside the locker room. That's on team planes. Like so many cool moments that were captured, just never shared. So that account was a way to use the Last Dance to our advantage. And I can go into like growth tactics and all these other fun things if of interest, but yeah, that account's almost at 100,000 followers right now. So like that's just one of many examples. The Last Dance was, again, I can't stress enough, like awesome for us.
Is there any?
That's sorry, Bucks.
Is there any limit around using those? Like, did you worry you weren't allowed to use those photos?
Yeah, luckily all of them were taken from Bill Smith, who was he's still a photographer today. Believe it or not. Like he's still with us. But yeah, like anything we publish, we want to make sure that like it's fair use. We don't want to ever steal someone's content, things like that. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely something that we're aware of.
I think like number one, that Bulls archive, I stumbled across it like I don't know when, because I then went to our historian and I was like, hey, check this out. Like this probably would have been early 2019 or something, just before the pandemic, while we were in the office, because our club historian, like his desk, you should see it, like just like stacks of photos and like old film reels and like videotapes and all this stuff. And I'm like, his nickname is Beast, which is speaks for itself.
Shout out Beast if you're listening. And
shout out Beast if you. Beast doesn't know we have a podcast, but Beast. I said to him, Beast, have a look at this. Like, have a look at what the Bulls are doing. Like, surely our club, which is 150 years old or whatever it is, has all this shit that's like stored away somewhere that's just getting dust on it. Like, how do we bring it to life? And he was like, yeah, I don't know, maybe we do articles on the website. I'm like, nah, man. No one wants to read an article about it. Like, everyone just wants to see it in front of them. And I saw the Bulls archive and I was like, this is what we need. So don't think for a second that it hasn't transcended like international borders and inspired like spin-offs of it. Because I think it's a really clever idea and easy way to show your rich history as well. Like, and some of those pictures, like I always love seeing the ones of the boys on the planes, like where they're playing poker and smoking cigars. And I'm thinking, what a time. Like that just doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. There's so many things that like still things there that haven't been released yet that are like cool. You know, like it's just
Yeah.
a different time, you know, like, and it's just a lot of things that just went down. So I highly encourage for Beast. Hey, Beast, if you're listening, let's go. Come on. Let's make this happen.
We're gonna have to send him that. I think this spawns another question about diversifying accounts for different audiences, and it's time to talk about the bull in the room, Benny. Now,
Yes.
Benny has got to be one of the most popular mascots on social media, if not on the internet, if not in the world.
Mm-hmm.
How did this great character kind of come about? Like, how do you go about building such a fantastic online presence for a mascot?
Yeah, well, shout out to everyone that's worked on the brand, and big shout out to two in particular, Benny the Bull himself, and then Ransom Hatch, who was Benny's assistant. Like those, like it would not have been possible with them too, and the many people that have come before. Like it's a team effort, and like it's Benny the Bull. Like that's to start off with. Like it's just such a fun character. There's gonna be silly string to the face. There's gonna be popcorn spilled everywhere. Like there's always something going on. It's always entertaining. So like we had to bring more eyeballs to that. Same thing with like Archive, where not enough people were seeing the cool things or haven't been seeing it at all. Benny is the character that everyone needs to experience, whichever age you are. Like Benny fits for you. It's entertainment first. Like you don't have to be a basketball fan either to follow the Benny the Bull.
Yeah.
Like if you want to have a good laugh or see something funny, like this is an account to follow, Benny the Bull.
I think that point is like excellent. Someone I want to ask you about, like, and forgive me if you're not too involved in that content process, but how do you go about producing content that is both entertaining to kids and adults? Like that is such a hard thing to do, but Benny just seems to nail it all the time.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like different strategic initiatives that we go through. One of them is to reach a younger demographic, and like one of our biggest avenues to reach younger audience is obviously Benny the Bull, and especially on TikTok where we have that younger demographic. But in terms of the content we create, we always want to make sure it's family friendly. Obviously, Benny can sometimes walk a fine line with that, with the way we do things. But yeah, we just make sure that there's not anything too crazy going on. Obviously, there's gonna be like pranks and things like that. But yeah, we also go through a wide range of content that's being published. Like there's serious message like COVID prevention, like how to wear a mask, for an example, but we do it in a fun way, to things where the slapstick humor, where literally silly string people in the face, or like there's just a lot of different, wide variety of content going out. But yeah, we just focus and tailor onto different channels. And in the near future, if everything goes well, like we're going to build it out way more than it is right now. And I'm talking like YouTube channel is going to be popping, consistent series. Like I don't want to spill the beans too much, but it's gonna be, I'm excited. Like if all goes well, it's going to be big.
Nah, spill the beans. We're just taking notes on what we want to do.
We're
with
not
our
recording.
mascots.
Trust us.
In the
We're not
background.
recording.
All I would say is like we spent a good amount of time focusing on TikTok this past year and a little bit over a year now, and we've grown to 4 million followers. Like,
Jeez.
we have more eyeballs now operating internally on Betting the Bull, which is great. And now once we get the pieces in place, the budgets in place, everything else like that, it's going to be just spread that across platforms, especially places like YouTube, and it's going to be, oh, if all goes well, I'm telling you, I'm excited.
To put simply, is that because the kids are the future? Do you think that's why? It's like, I love what you guys are doing. I've seen some outrageous TikTok numbers that you guys have posted on like views and stuff. But is that the approach?
In terms of, like, I guess, let me get clarification on the question, because I feel like there's a ton of ways where I can answer this.
So, like, do you think it's so important because I guess kids are the future, and I guess
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like so a lot of the league right now is, I'm sure you're seeing this even in your own clubs, like if a very good player moves teams, their fan base also moves a little bit. Like if LeBron James signed to the Bulls, our follower count would be skyrocketed massively. And so what's awesome about Benny the Bull is that Benny won't be traded, at least as far as I know. Like Benny's not gonna be traded. Benny won't say something stupid, not only because Benny can't talk, but because like we control, or like we be able to, I guess, like going back to the point of the player driven league, Benny's not gonna get traded. And that's a very important asset to us. So yes, it's important to focus on Benny the Bull. And Benny reaches a tough audience to reach. So yes, definitely gonna be focusing even more on Benny if all goes well.
That's such a good point. So I like to think about mascots as like a commodity to your team, like that's never going to leave, because it's true. And if you create, like, I think Barks, you had a good point. Like, kids are the future in the sense that if you get them early enough with something that they love, they're always going to remember that, like, in a nostalgic sense, whenever when they grow up. Like, the players, the team might go through and form, but like if they always remember when they're little and all the fun that they had watching Benny the Bull, like, that's fucking gold. Like,
big time. I mean, think about like even just in basketball terms again, like Steph Curry right now is one of the kids' like favorite players, and you see so many kids nowadays in the States rocking Golden State Warriors jerseys because of Steph Curry. Like
Steph Curry,
if all goes well, like soon people will be wearing Benny jerseys, like, you know, and that's just one access point into the Chicago Bulls. It's almost like a giant funnel where it's like entertainment is like a big thing that anyone likes to be entertained with, like Benny the Bull, and then you can transfer that into a sports fan and then transfer that into a Bulls fan. So it's exciting. Again, I feel like I'm saying this a lot, but like if all goes well, there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of people to convince internally, but if all goes well, there's a lot of cool, exciting things to happen.
Yeah, I think it's great, and it is a very good point, because if the kids are now getting so invested in Chicago Bulls and they're never going to leave them as a fan base, they're the adults in 10, 15 times that will be loyal to the Chicago Bulls. They're not going to jump ship. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, we jump straight into the
fan questions. Let's go.
All right, Kamil. So we went out to the listeners. We wanted to hear what they wanted to ask you. So we'll start with Benny, actually, because one person wrote in about it. Is Benny just one person? Are there a few subs? And have you jumped in there?
I guess I'm not understanding the question.
Sorry, so the person inside Benny, is it just one person? Like,
you're talking about Benny the Bull?
Yeah, Benny the Bull.
Yeah.
Well, is there just one Barks? Like, I don't...
Okay, so, yeah. Fair enough. So the answer is yes. One person.
Have you ever jumped in the Benny the Bull suit?
I guess I'm still confused. Benny is a
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know what's funny right now. I don't get it.
All right. Thanks, Simon.
You played that with such... We have a like cricket saying here. You played it with such a straight bat. You've just.
I got scared. I'm like, I'm not trying to be like intimidating. I'm not trying to play it. That
was good.
Benny is Benny. Benny is one of the greatest
Benny
fools out there.
No disrespect, Benny. You are who you are. Actually, well, there's another one. How do you... Well, actually, you touched on this before. How do you effectively... I can't speak sometimes, Kamil. It's one of my good traits.
Neither can I.
How do you effectively use a mascot personality to push important messages? You did touch on it with the COVID mask before.
Yeah. Benny is almost like an in-house influencer. And so, like, it's like you're a celebrity that you look up to. So whatever that celebrity or that person you follow says, like, you listen to it versus like just a brand account. Like if the Chicago Bulls tweeted something, yes, it's going to be listened to. But if someone that you follow religiously and you want to see what's coming up next, like if they say it, it's like, oh, wow. Like there's a different type of credibility to it. So that's how we're treating Benny, is like an in-house star and a celebrity, this influencer, as some people call it, to really build out that credibility.
Yeah. No, I love that. Touch on the personalities of the current Chicago Bulls. Who's the funniest current Chicago Bull?
Yeah, we changed a lot of our players. I'm actually not with the team a lot anymore. We actually hired some others to fill in. Shout out to Nico. Shout out to Joe. They're a lot more closer to the players, but Kobe comes to mind. Kobe White. He's definitely fun and goofy. I remember working with him in Vegas for Summer League. Just young, youthful, ready to have fun. So like that's one name that instantly comes to mind.
What about over your 5 years? Have there been any standout, I guess, real personalities?
One that was, this goes back to the goofiness side, but Chris Dunn, he was always funny. Like there's always something going on. Like even if just like we used to film skits with our players too. Like the way he would act in there was just always so funny. And plus his laugh was very contagious. So that's definitely another one that sticks out.
Shout out Chris Dunn. Sure you're listening.
All right, we might, because we're, as I said, we're pretty tight asses. We've got about 2 minutes left on this chat. Before we say goodbye, I want to, because I feel like we could talk for hours and hours, but I want to get one prediction from you, Kamil, or K-Money, sorry, about what do you think the big trend is going to be this year in like digital content?
I would go building audience, building community versus audience. And what I mean by this is that it's gonna be less of a focus on views and impressions, and it's gonna be who's actually watching. It's gonna hit. I don't know how long it's gonna take for people to realize that it's people that are actually watching that matters versus like the numbers and metrics. So I'm going with that.
I agree. Like we always report on impressions and reach, but I feel like engagement is key more than anything else. On that, I think we better wrap this up so we can actually say a proper thank you and goodbye, mate. Like I said just then, I could talk to you for like another 3 hours because it's just so insightful and you bring such a good energy, to this chat, but you can see why that flows over into your work and all the work you're doing over there at the Bulls. So really appreciate you making the time today. Hopefully this isn't the last time we chat. We can stay in touch and we might get you back for Benny the Bull round 2.
Can we get
and,
Benny
and
on?
see what's going on when big things are going on. But also like just to talk about the content you're producing away from that as well. So thank you so much for the insight into the world of the Chicago Bulls.
Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Barks.
Barks, we're back from that. And to be honest, I want to run through a brick wall.
Do you?
I'm inspired.
We said the same thing for old mate Big Money versus now K Money.
Maybe it's just something about these NBA producers that we just need to learn something from. They're like unbridled enthusiasm for everything that they're doing.
It's a good enthusiastic. He was like the way he spoke, you could just tell the absolute joy he has with everything he does. And let us know what you think, listeners, because that was, I feel like we say it every week with every guest, but that was right now in this moment, generally one of my favorite chats. And I'm sure it will change next time we have a guest. But the reality is that was a great insight. And as you said, we could have kept talking to him for absolute hours, and we'll might as well throw ourselves into the early egg because you may have noticed that audio cutting off a bit abruptly. The old Zoom link strikes again. Free Zoom account strikes again, I should say.
I reckon we got to call ourselves eggs on that one because
just bite the bullet.
We should just buy something. But yeah, here we go. Here we are anyway.
Now we're getting all down in the dumps about our financial situation.
But one thing I wanted to talk about. Help us! I told you, mate. OnlyFans, just show a bit of nip. We'll be fine. One thing I wanted to call out from that show, from that interview, is number one, his enthusiasm, but number two, like his awareness of the audience that Chicago Bulls have. I think it's such a fresh take on how valuable a mascot can be to, and not to dwell on just categorize all of Kamil's work into Benny the Bull, because he does such a wide range of things. But what a smart way to play a mascot. A mascot doesn't change.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's such a good call. So why not create this connection between your younger fans and the mascot?
I thought that too. And that exact word, smart. I'm like, when he was explaining to it, I've never thought about that. I guess in depth, you just sort of see this entertaining, stupid character, but it works amazingly. And
it works, yeah.
It's very intelligent to get the fans on board from an early age, and they probably won't waver because you're stuck with, I don't know, it's just such a massive part of being a Chicago Bulls fan that you're probably not going to, I don't know, hopefully in the near future they'll be one of the top teams, and you can see why that it's the strategy they go down.
Yeah, I think that, and also like the acknowledgement of different audiences within the Bulls dynasty, because obviously like the Bulls are a dynasty team, right? Like there's going to be like bread and butter content is going back to like old school stuff, like the 90s era and whatnot. I think like if we were ever like Carlton does a similar thing, like when we're fucked, we go back to the era of the 90s. And not that you want to remind people, but like bringing out unseen stuff is a good way to remind people of the past, without dwelling on like games or anything that happened like that. So
sneaky distraction.
Yeah, a couple of accounts there to follow if you're not. Bulls Archive and also Benny the Bull.
Yeah, go follow Benny the Bull and actually look at, especially if you're into content, which we bloody assume you are, seeing as you're listening to us.
If you're listening to this podcast, you should be into content.
Actually,
right?
But actually have a look at what they do, and on all platforms as well. If you're not a TikTok addict, it's probably
you will be.
Yeah, it's probably a good account to go check out.
Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Anthar Tusa for his question from social media. I think Anth has got some interest in sports and sports mascots, so hopefully that little question helps you out in whatever you are doing.
Absolutely.
Bucks,
Is it that time?
is it that time? I reckon it's about time.
Crack it open. Do it. All right. I've got one that
Egg of the
is
week.
very relatable because I saw it last week and I thought I'd save it. Who else but Benny the Bull? I'm gonna egg him. Give me one fucking second. Didn't even open it. Benny the Bull. Ever wonder? Actually, no. Kamil did touch on his. Well, everyone should know his skits, but during COVID, he doesn't stop doing this his popcorn party skit that I think he generally targets a fan in the crowd and throws bags of popcorn over it. Well, if you're wondering with what he does without a crowd, he still does it. So we're just watching a video of him going through the empty stadium, and I think he paused it on himself. I don't know,
He trips.
So basically it's Benny, you're the egg for continuing to do your popcorn skit with no one there, and then the caption is that he has to clean it up.
But is that an egg or is that like
No, he's an egg.
is that a boss?
No, it's an egg. Look at him. Pretty stupid, really. All right.
Yeah, all right. I'm just searching through my likes to see whether there's.
I want to give a
eggs
shout out to your
here.
Twitter handle. Everyone go follow
Nah.
Wallace at Wallace
1292.
1292. Great insight. It's mainly just talking about bombers.
Oh, the bombers.
Hey Google, we just had.
Can we talk about the bombers here?
Oh, I didn't know you posted that last photo with Darcy. I'll give that a like.
Oh fuck! I'm not gonna find it. So I'm gonna egg myself here for not being prepared.
You've just wasted about 7 minutes on air trying to find something that doesn't exist.
Well, we all know that I'm the one who has to cut this up. So after wasting 6 minutes of everyone's time trying to find this egg, I've got one. And obviously, disclaimer: these are my own views. They are in no way reflective of the Carlton Football Club or my employer or anyone at the AFL. But I would love Collingwood and Port Adelaide just to sort this shit out around the prison bar Guernsey.
It's honestly
Like,
one of those things that I don't really know how many people care.
Well, it obviously means something to Port Adelaide, right? Like, and their heritage. And to be fair, most clubs are allowed to throw back to some sort of heritage Guernsey. I don't understand, in my mind, why Collingwood's Guernsey is so protected. Like, why are they the only team that doesn't have an alternate strip?
I can't answer that, but it's a good point. But I don't know.
Is there some sort of reason?
Isn't it more that the Port one is so... Like, if someone had a yellow and green monogram that looked like a C and an F, CFC, then we'd probably get our backs up. I don't know.
Correct, but like, they're not playing Collingwood this week, so why shouldn't they be able to wear it? And also to Port Adelaide... also to Port Adelaide, right? Also to Port Adelaide. Why don't you just change the white to teal and make it like teal and black and still have your bloody prison bars?
Because it's the same thing. That means something to them. Like the black and the white.
The question is, do you want to wear the fucking jumper or not?
Well, they both want it their way. Anyway, you're egging them for bloody not shutting up about it. Now we're not shutting up about it.
No, I'm just egging them for not finding a solution. Like, just find a solution.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway.
And stop sending media releases about the prison jumper. Like, just sort it out.
All right.
God.
You right? You done?
Nah, I'm fired up.
Why don't we move on to something a bit positive?
Yeah.
Boss of the week. Let's flip the switch. I don't have one, but you have one, so hit me. Don't actually hit me.
Don't actually hit me. Boss of the week. Here we go. I want to give a little bit of a shout out. And this is very private and personal.
Wow.
But
okay.
Barks, we've been working at home for the last 13 months, I'd like to say. We recently just got back into the office around that time. So
I just realised I have a boss too, but carry on.
We finally got back into the office. And new seating plan, new desks. I want to call out the Minister of Vibes, Adrian Astagi.
Two shout-outs in a row.
2 shout-outs in a row. But this one's a real important one because Adrian, DJ AJ,
Get on with it.
as the Ministry of Vibes, has dipped into his personal pocket and bought the office a Sonos speaker, which we
Wow.
can all just drop tunes on. So, AJ, thank you again. Boss of the week.
And on that note, if it makes people dance, however, AJ, Nah, I'm not going to go that far. just don't dance in the office, people.
All for dancing in the office.
My
Do you
boss
have
of
a
the
boss
week,
there,
Jules.
Bucks?
You know who is the most important little furry thing in my life?
Yes.
It's Bradley.
Happy
And Bradley turns 10
birthday
today.
to you.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Bradley.
birthday
I'm not going to sing because you know I don't like
you.
it. But, you know, let's start from birth.
Dear Bradley.
Let's start from birth. Very messed up. I didn't know what he was. We rescued him at, I don't know how old he was, but on your Brad, you've done well.
On your Brad,
Enjoy
you're
the
a
last. Enjoy the last 3 months of your life. I'm kidding.
You can so tell
I'm
that
just
Elise
kidding.
has left the house when you said that. Otherwise, you would be dead. I cannot wait for her to hear this.
No,
Elise,
he's a little Jack
I'm
Russell. He's
sorry.
got plenty of years left in him.
You
Thankfully.
are a dog, Michael.
I
are
joke, but I
dog.
would be devastated. So I love you lots, Bradley, even though you're a pain in the ass. Boss of the week. Well done.
Oh dear. Well done. Should we throw to Edwin's? Fuck this! This is an action-packed episode, isn't it?
We're flying here.
We're fucking busy.
Up and about. All right, we've got another. The second Easy Eddie's tips. The first one was a hoot. Let's go to the second one. Let's see. We haven't listened to this, so we'll have a look. We'll have a watch, have a listen, see what the tip is, and we'll discuss.
G'day boys, Edwin here from The Social Sandwich. For some reason you've let me back in to do another tip of the day, a bit of a discussion point. I'm not sure why, but thank you for the opportunity. It's an honor to be back on the podcast. This week, I guess like a bit of a rant, a bit of just a conversation starter is around athletes and influencers and how they use sponsored posts. So my biggest grind and what grinds my gears is when they basically get the approved copy from the client and just post it word for word. It sounds nothing like what they actually talk like. It stands out like a sore thumb that it's a paid post. The engagement is awful. No one actually buys the product. No one's using their, use code social sandwich 10 for, 10% off this light that I'm using to light myself. So I just kind of wanted to throw it over to you guys to see what you thought. Do you think that it's a client issue where they're too strict on what they're making the athlete or the influencer say, or is it just the athlete being like, you know what, I'm getting paid $500 for this, so I don't care what I say, I'll just do it. But I think it kind of does a lot of long-term damage to a brand if all you're posting about is teeth whitening or the latest HelloFresh box. So over to you boys.
I enjoy when Edwin something grinds Edwin's gears. He's got a nice level of sass to him. I think he's a bit more up. I like when he gets a bit sassy.
Sassy
Eddie.
daddy. All right. Yes, I agree. I also think that Eddie could replace you on the show.
What? Wait, that has nothing to do with his tips.
No, I think that's a good point. Obviously, like, athletes are being viewed more and more as, like, influencers. But perhaps the problem is that they shouldn't be compared in the same, like, world. You know what I mean? Like, influencers are clearly out there with, like, a strategic goal to kind of make money off social media or whatever fucking digital thing that they're doing, right? Whereas athletes, it's more like... I feel like it's more beneficial for the brand to be associated with the athlete than it is for the athlete to be associated with the brand.
So it's not. So what are you saying, Jewel? Are you saying it's on the brand to choose better athletes to do this sort of thing?
I think it's on the the brand to provide messaging in the tone of what the athlete would like speak like, is it all right like, or in their persona.
Yeah. we're saying yes, it's on the brand to not be so strict because that's what
Yes.
Eddie asked.
Yes.
And, that's what I was gonna say. I think that's probably where my head goes to, and
Yeah.
we've talked about it. Darcy Vesio, she does this superbly because I don't know about you, but I can't tell what's sponsored and what's not because she's so creative.
Yeah.
But that's probably just the higher end of an example.
But that's probably like, I think Das, just when she was on the show, she kind of spoke to that and said brands come to her with like a really broad idea and then let her kind of dictate
Yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah.
And I think it's twofold, right? Like if the athlete is really interested in the product that they're selling, like I imagine, like let's take it to a basketball world and Steph Curry when he was doing stuff with BlackBerry, I think, or Palm Pilot,
yeah.
Palm Pilot, and obviously he was interested in the content because he had a stake in the company.
Yeah.
And similar now, like using Patrick Cripps as an example, and that app that he has, whatever the app is,
Ball
I'm
magnet,
sorry, I can't
or
remember.
whatever it's called.
Ball magnets, that's
Ball.
right. Like he's putting a lot of effort into the content because he's got a stake in whatever comes out of it. My point here is the athlete's not interested. Number one, that's on the brand and the manager to maybe look at it and go, okay, this isn't the right
Don't
fit.
accept it. Yeah.
Yeah. And number two, it's on the athlete to maybe communicate that and say, hey, like I actually like the $500 or whatever will be nice, but I
Yeah.
don't care.
Or go the other way of embracing them not
Yeah.
caring. Like take the piss out of
Exactly.
it because that's going to make the best. Like we've seen that work time
Exactly.
and time again.
Yeah, like here's a shitty sponsored post for Nivea.
Yeah. And it's funny if it has nothing to do with what you're interested in, that comes across.
Yeah.
Recently, there's been a bit of talk on Twitter about how Shaq features in literally everything.
Mm.
So Shaq will pop up on all these weird and wonderful brands, and I just think it's kind of a humorous point because I don't know why he needs to, but there's been, as I said, talk on Twitter, and there's so many. You'll probably notice it now. Half the things you watch, Shaq will randomly pop up as a as a brand ambassador.
Isn't he in that like Bet Easy one at the moment?
Yeah, but it's just all these like weird but small ones as well. Anyway,
Maybe
Edwin, thank
That's
you.
just his
for,
vibe.
That's his vibe. Thank you for that. Yeah.
If anyone else has any thoughts, I think it's a really interesting one. I would love to have an athlete on to discuss this, like
Yeah.
around sponsorship and kind of how it works. Can you make it happen?
I can actually get Edwin and the athlete on, and then they
Yeah,
can
and they
sort
can
of just fight about it. Yeah, because we know
Yeah.
how much Edwin loves a fight.
Barks, I reckon this show's gone for long enough. I think it's about time to wrap it up.
I think you're right. Kamil, shouts to you. We've
Okay,
told
money.
you how much we appreciate it, but that was awesome. We hope you enjoyed it, listeners, and we've enjoyed bringing it to you, Jules. You could be better today, but I was massive. I was massive on Brad's birthday.
You're the one who said it, not me.
Head to the socials. No, I'm doing this outro. Shut up.
Shut up.
Head to the socials at Content Catchup on all socials. Go to YouTube. If you like seeing our faces, you can see Jules playing with his cat right now. But it's been a pleasure as always. Episode 13 done and dusted. Bernie just bit Jules. Goodbye. Oh. Yeah, good little see ya for Bernie. All right, thank you.
See you, everyone.
See you next
Thank you.
week.
Goodbye.